welcome to the official Lakes International Comic Art Festival podcast. My name's Ian.
And my name's Nikki, bringing you the best in comics and graphic novels and updates from the festival.
Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Lakes International Comic Art Festival. My name's Ian.
And I'm Nikki.
And we're sort of...
What? Instantly into dead air.
We haven't got much to say.
Wow. That's going to bring the punters in, isn't it?
What have we been up to? And we're like, nothing.
Bought a pair of shoes.
I bought a pair of shoes.
We both bought shoes.
You've been to Tai Chi.
I went to Tai Chi.
You went to Tai Chi.
I was the youngest person there. But
That's
the person with the noisiest knees.
And you were the tallest person there.
Which at 5'4", I felt like I was just amongst the hobbitses.
Did they all have hairy feet?
I don't know. I tried not to look at their feet.
You now need to look at their feet.
Oh, God. Because some people did do it in bare feet.
Well, surely that's how it should be done. It's like a martial art. You should manoeuvre like
I can
doing
repel
now.
a monkey. I hope, if I was ever attacked very slowly by a monkey, I could repel it.
When are you going to get attacked by a monkey within the UK?
At a safari park.
Whilst in a car?
Yes.
I would not
behind
take the car
a cage.
through.
No, never do that.
Because...
you don't come out with all your car.
Exactly.
For starters. We booked a holiday. There you go.
Booked a holiday. We're going off down to Devon. Any comic shops that we need to know of in the... which area?
Exeter area. Exeter
area. Then let us know.
Mm.
We might, if time allows,
visit
such a shop.
Yeah.
I started a new job.
You did? I didn't.
I now live in Kendal. I work in Kendal.
I am Kendal.
I don't leave Kendal.
The car doesn't know what's hit it.
Kendal is my blood. It's not. Lancashire. Proud.
Are you happy there?
As are the girls who we interview later on in the episode. Lancashire born and bred.
Yes. They don't live here now, though.
Well, one still lives.
There's one's up here, and then one's in Kent.
Not down south.
Because she was dragged down by a southerner.
Well,
I said I was dragged up by a northerner.
That sounds wrong, being dragged up. That's like you were born and brought up by a northern person. Like Mowgli and the wolves.
That's what it's like. That's what it's like coming up. No, it's lovely.
Right, we've got a few books to review, because that's what we do. Then we've got something to talk about, which we announce with our interview with the Gluepot girls, which we'll do afterwards. Mm-hmm. So our first book is Grey Area, Our Town by Tim Bird.
Yes. Ooh.
Give me a bit on the back, Nikki.
I will indeed. Place, memory, stories, lives. In this instalment of Tim Bird's award-winning comic Grey Area, our focus turns to remembered places, memories from childhood, relationships with those we love, the environment that we experience, the time and place within which we exist. These aspects of our lives are questioned and interrogated. Memories and places change, whilst we are shaped by our connections with those close to us, as well as the landscapes we inhabit. Our Town is Tim Bird's follow-up to From the City to the Sea, which won Best Comic at the 2015 British Comic Awards.
Not read that one.
No, we haven't
can't say anything about that. It's a very visual comic, and I mean that in the sense of there's not much in the way of writing. It is all a visual story for the majority of it.
Yes, it is.
It follows the life of a young lad. Yeah. And essentially almost his entire life in some ways. It jumps from one age to another age.
But in this one little, it's our town, but this one little area in the town. Really,
it's like his memories being brought back later life and how they all link to your later life and how they, I suppose, shape.
As they shape and shift, aren't they?
Shape the way
perception and everything else, yeah.
But we all do it, don't we? We all grow up and then at some point we go back to that place, even if it's just for a nosy. Yeah. In this case, it's more, but you just want to go back and see the school you went to, the shops you used to go to, what's changed. And that's what does happen. Things change so much in most places. Yeah. And it's just that little story of what I suppose we will all go through with a bit extra thrown in.
Yes. Well, there's a little love story going on,
yeah, because we don't all fall in love in the later stages of life. Unless you count me.
Aww.
Nikki's
I'm not
more
saying
in the
anything.
later stage of life.
Stop it. I was just going to ignore you and go, well, it wasn't me.
Yeah. It's what I'm planning for my future, dear. Vera from Down Road. She's going to be mine when I'm 70.
You're not going to live that long.
Thanks. But no, the colours and the...
Well, it's just the red, isn't it?
It is. It really stands out.
Yeah.
And you also get instructions at the front on how to do an origami bird, is it? Mm-hmm. Because that is featured a lot within the storyline. Yeah, both as a physical thing and a metaphor, I think, for these people and this place. So yeah, it's a lovely book. It's definitely worth sitting there quietly with a cup of tea. Cup of tea. Your feet up. Just when in those quiet moments when you need something that will match that. And I think this matches those quiet moments you have in life. Next book is a bit different. Yes. Wide Up Wrong by Rachael Smith. I'm just zooming in so you can read the bump. There we go. Rachel is confused about the way her brain works. In an effort to understand it, she invents a cartoon dog called Barky, who follows her around, and 2 tiny game show hosts who live inside her head. They do the little roulette wheel. Yeah. Luckily, Rachel also has her real-life boyfriend and a real-life cat to help her navigate her confused way through life. So this is what you probably call a bit like a diary comic. It is short strips. Yes. Almost like segments of Rachel's life as she's going through on a day-by-day basis. Essentially, she suffers from... Depression mainly, and anxiety as well, isn't it? Yeah. And it's her way of... I suppose... We're going to interview Rachel shortly, and I'm intrigued to see if this book is her way of helping herself or whether it's more of a challenging thing to talk about the issues with having depression. I think it's anxiety. It is still a grey taboo area, isn't it? To talk mental to health as a whole, isn't it? Yeah, but I mean, it's slowly changing, and I think things like this help that change. So, day by day recollection of problems she's had, just simple things like getting out of bed, for example. Yes, it's the problems, and Barky, she has Barky sitting on her, doesn't she? And growing bigger, smaller, quite depending on whatever. And depending on what's worrying her. Stress and the anxiety is there. And it does make you think about people with these conditions, especially depression, because it is such a hidden illness in many ways. It's, you know, people have depression. You know people who've got depression. But you never, because you only see their mask, I suppose, in some cases, or the days when it's good, you don't know what's going on in those doors and behind the backgrounds and stuff. So such an interesting book. And this is the deluxe version that we've been reading, which was over 10 grand on Kickstarter it got before Something Christmas. Like that, wasn't it? Yeah. Crazy amount of money. That's good. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And she didn't charge silly money for the book either, so it just shows how many people are actually interested by the work she'd done previously with the smaller version of this book and what she was going to produce with this one. So yeah, I think it resonates with a lot of people. You said, didn't it, that quite a few bits feel a bit like me. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah. I'll just bring it up. the anxiety side of things, there's a few strips in particular that do jump out with yourself, and the worries and concerns, and particularly about there's one where she goes on about, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm good at that. But it's what other people think of me is almost more important, and you just worry. Oh, I do that. Yeah. Yeah, and it's worrying about silly things that actually, things. Yeah, but you can't, it's hard to turn your brain off for those kind of things. And I think that's why we need comics like this, because to try to explain to someone that actually your brain doesn't switch off from those little worries, it's hard to have that conversation, I think, sometimes, which the visual comics help. I also think it's probably good for teenagers who, let's be honest, can't be bothered to read books. Yeah. But they could sit and read that to understand what they're going through. Yeah, because everyone will go through some form of this. If it's just, I mean, it might be a short, stressful period in your life. It could be full-blown anxiety. You could go into depression. Everyone is going to, suffer at some point, and it's how you come to find the information about it that isn't condescending and everything else. And in some ways, learning to deal with it or learning to get through it. Somehow. So yeah, grab that. I think it's in the shop, printed edition now in her shop. We'll have links to it anyway. But well worth a read there. Now, I've got a couple to talk about quickly, which I've been reading on the Comichaus app, which you've not read, because you're not a fan of digital.
I like to hold paper.
Neither am I, but it's there to read, so
I
it's
like
well
to
worth.
hold the paper.
So I'm going to do brief bits about these. So the first one's the Red Mask from Mars, issue 1. I've also read issue 0 from Vince Hunt from the Awesome Comic Podcast, and colours by Sean Dobie. It's just a fun comic. Mm-hmm. It's about a story of a army guy who, whilst in space, gets a alien. It's like a facehugger type thing. Attack his head.
Yeah,
and then that covers his head, and that's his mask for the rest of his life, essentially.
Oh, it takes over.
It takes over.
Wow.
But then he gets powers and things like that.
Yeah,
and it's sort of
hard to put your makeup on.
It feels a bit like he's already cheeky chappy beforehand, but it feels a bit like Deadpool in some ways, in the fact that it sort of really pushes out his I don't give a beep attitude. And then he just goes around beating up monsters and aliens and whatever gets in the way.
Sounds like my kind of
working
comic.
For the army. It's just silly fun comic. Mm-hmm. You get the colours are bright, it's really out there. Mm-hmm. So really enjoyable read. So go and grab that, because it's just worth having a read. You'll giggle a lot.
We like that.
The other one, complete opposite, White Noir, number 1, art by Divevez. That's it. That's in that. I hope I got that right. Written by Matt Garvey, who's got a huge Twitter. Not I was going to say following, but more. He's always out on Twitter doing stuff. Mm-hmm. It's, as it says, noir. Is in there. It's sort of a noir story about a guy who crashes his vehicle in a snowy area, goes off to this town, collapses in a bar, and then it's a story. This is issue 1. The story of them sort of looking after him. Mm-hmm. The townsfolk are very American and weird.
Okay.
As American, it's sort of almost questioning what this guy is. The sheriff's a bit off his head a little bit. It's odd.
Right. But it's set in that background story then, is it, to carry on?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say there's sort of a twist at the end, but it's the following. Even though you've got the main character there who's had the accident and there's something going on with him, I was more intrigued by these people
around
in the town who are all just a little bit odd. In a back.
Are they hiding?
Yeah. In a little town mentality. You get TV shows of the same sort of thing. Yeah. But the art is stunning. Mm-hmm. It is stunning. I really love the art in it. So I'm looking forward to catching up on more of those. So both on Comichaus. Let's do an ad for no reason. Pay your subscription, only a few quid a month, and you can read so much.
I like so much information that only a few quid a month.
I can't remember how much exactly it is now. Is it 3 quid?
Something
4
like
quid?
That.
It's nothing. And I'm going to keep reading little comics and do little basic reviews because I think it deserves it. It needs that push. Yeah. All we can get. Right, so now we've got an interview with Sophie and Scarlett Rickard from Gluepot Books.
Yes.
Which you may or may not have heard of. If you haven't,
then you need to find them.
You need to go and check it out.
Yeah.
Because they could be into big things down the line, that's for sure.
I think they will be, yeah.
The way they're going. And bear in mind, all the work that they've done is all on their own backs. Which is quite
impressive. Self-published and everything.
So have a listen to this. Then we'll be back with what we talk about in the interview, and we'll talk a bit more about our project.
Ooh. Mike's Mutterings.
Hello and welcome again to Mike's Mutterings. This episode is the first in a series that I'll do over 2018 that will explore comics that have been adapted from TV shows, many of which continue the stories for fans long after the completion or cancellation of the original show. These adaptations do appeal to me, because they place you immediately into a familiar universe with familiar characters, and this means the stories don't have to be slowed down to establish such things. In many cases, the comics are used to fill in the blanks between series, add backstory to events, or even explore completely new directions. However, you're always going to be drawn to such a series more if you are a fan of the source material, which instantly makes you aware of anything that is awry. Stepping out of canon, writing events that are contradicted by later shows, or just plain sucking are all guaranteed to invite major criticism and damnation from the geek hive mind. And believe me, there are some real turkeys out there. But as I prefer to accentuate the positive, I'll only be discussing those worth seeking out. And this episode will be dedicated to Battlestar Galactica. A weird choice, but bear with me. Okay, quick 101 time again. The original film in 1978 led to the TV series that ran between 1979 and 1980. It was writer-producer Glenn A. Larson's response to Star Wars, and a blatant attempt just to get starships and laser battles on the small screen. It was a big deal back then, and the first ever TV show to cost over $1 million per episode, mostly due to the special effects that can now be replicated using an Instagram filter. The story followed a ragtag convoy of civilian starships protected by the Battlestar Galactica, flagship of the military fleet, the only survivors after the Cylons wiped out the 12 colony homeworlds of mankind. The fleet desperately search for the mythological 13th colony called Earth, whilst the Cylons pursue. The Cylons are a robotic army created by the mysterious Kali, and temporarily led by traitor human Gaius Baltar. It was a strange mix of Greek and Egyptian mythology, and quite a bit of references to Mormonism, given that Glenn Larson was a practicing Mormon himself. It all had a very campy but family-friendly feel to it. 26 years later, the series is rebooted and reimagined by Ron Moore. The story follows a ragtag convoy of civilian starships protected by the Battlestar Galactica, flagship of the military fleet. The only survivors after the Cylons wiped out... Hang on, that's the same plot. However, the new series did have some key changes. The Cylons were man-made, and the first Cylon War was about self-awareness and revolt. The war resulted in a truce, and the Cylons left the colonies in peace. A peace that lasted 40 years before they suddenly returned and nuked the 12 colonies to Kingdom Come. In that 40-year gap, the Cylons had evolved. They even gained a new motivating force, religion. This new, reimagined Battlestar Galactica universe was gritty, serious and adult. It was a lot more lo-fi, with pretty recognisable modern firearms being used rather than laser guns, and the combat uniforms were very reminiscent of those worn in the then-current Iraq War. It also dealt with serious topics like racism and gender equality in a very clever way. With humankind being the oppressed of the equation, there were some real interesting moral dilemmas of taking the terrorist role and the legitimacy of using suicide bombers. This chimed very much with what was happening in the news in the Iraq War at the time. The series ran for 4 seasons in total, with various mini-series in between, but each season really upped the ante and changed the tone each time. It did actually have a proper conclusion. It wasn't a series that was cancelled, and I have to say it's a superb twist of an ending. Now, the history of Battlestar Galactica comics is quite a varied one. Marvel first had the license in the late 70s and early 80s. Although I never saw the comics on display anywhere for sale, they did actually serialise the strip in teen magazine Lookin', and I bet that sparked a few memories for some people. And that's probably the only time I actually saw it. The Maximum Press guys had a go at rebooting in 95, followed by Realm Press in 98, none of which I've ever seen. But following the new series coming out on TV, Dynamite Comics got the license. With the two series very different to each other in tone, motivation and audience, they simply produced 2 different titles, Battlestar Galactica for the new series and Battlestar Galactica Classic. Now, Battlestar Classic is not really my cup of tea. I remember the series fondly as a kid, but even back then I kind of cringed at the campy humour and some of the plot lines basically involving kids saving the day. But I have read a few of the titles and was pleasantly surprised. First off, they got writers Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning on board, and that's some top talent right there. I'm a bit of a follower of Dan Abnett, and him and Andy really got all the elements of a TV adaptation comic correct, really. Firstly, the knowledge of the subject is there. They really know the canon. Secondly, they wrote really interesting storylines. They all keep within the canon and they still deliver the thrills, and that's kind of quite hard to do when, as a writer, I guess you really want to go off on your own. So to actually tie yourself into a specific canon that belongs to somebody else, that takes some good writing. And thirdly, artists and writers obviously collaborated well, because you could recognise characters quite easily, not just from what sometimes could be little sketchy artwork, but just by their actual actions or how they actually say something. And that's quite clever. The other classic series I did read was Cylon Apocalypse. Now this goes way past the original series timeline and concerns the discovery of a wormhole, a Cylon planet, and a Cylon-specific virus that could mean the destruction of all Cylons. The story was okay, but unfortunately the classic universe still fails to grab me, and I guess that confirms that you need to really love the source material to feel strongly enough to either love or hate the comic. Well, I really do love the reimagined Battlestar, and Dynamite put out some fantastic comic series to support it. The new series started back in 2006 and is now collected as Battlestar Galactica Volume 1, 2 and 3 tradebacks. Greg Pak was the writer, and his entire storyline existed between the episodes Home Part 2 and Resurrection Ship Part 1 of Season 2. The character writing is extremely well done, with actions or speech making characters easily recognisable when perhaps the artwork does not. Nigel Rayner is the artist, and joined later by Jonathan Lau. I feel Nigel's strength is in kind of action and framing, where Jonathan has an uncanny knack to capture likenesses. Both are Dynamite regulars, and I enjoyed plenty of their work previously. The storylines are very inventive, and clever enough to introduce new concepts whilst not breaking canon. This is a well-run series, and the big volumes are worth getting. There is a mini-series about the Tom Zarek character, who incidentally was played by the late Richard Hatch, who also played the lead of Apollo in the original series. This was followed by the outstanding Battlestar Galactica Season 0 story arc, set during Adama's first command of Battlestar Galactica and 2 years before the first Cylon War. As the future was known, I guess they felt they were on pretty safe ground and trying to create prequel canon. The series is really good, and it's a solid read from writer Brandon Jerwa. Unfortunately, they didn't count on the TV series Caprica coming out years later, and that seriously rewrote the actual origin of Adama and the first Cylon War. But don't let that put you off. Stephen Segovia and Jackson Herbert gave some lovely artwork for it, and Stephen did a rather special Issue 0, which was released as part of Free Comic Book Day. Which reminds me, this year it's May the 5th, so put that in your diaries now. The next miniseries, Pegasus, follows Helena Kane, Admiral of the Pegasus ship, and that was followed quickly by a series of origin stories for most of the major player characters. Gaius Baltar always seems to be the dream character for creative writing, and his backstory is the best. And talking of creative writing, the miniseries Ghost was the standout for me. Basically, it's about a Black Ops team called Ghost Squadron, and it's a whole new set of characters in a standalone story, and it's set around the exact timing of the apocalyptic Cylon attack that kick-started the TV series. It's Brandon Jerwa scripting again, and Jonathan Lau returning to do penciling, and Romulo Ferrado Jr. bringing in some very nice colouring. To me, it feels like the Rogue One of the Battlestar series. The next series was Cylon War, and this tells the story of the first Cylon War, and it's where I'm currently up to, so I haven't read much on this yet, but the next series I have actually read, and that's Final 5 and then 6. I won't say much about those because it really does give some major spoilers to the TV show. All in all, Dynamite did a great job with adapting Battlestar Galactica to comics, and I'm hoping that new stuff will continue to come out. My only slight criticism is that the books don't tackle the more ambiguous moral or serious dilemmas as much as the series did. I do know that further classic Battlestar Galactica comics are planned, and there will be one about the creators of the Cylons, the mysterious Kali, which sort of piques my interest even if it is the classic universe. I should say there have been a few odd titles from the classic universe. Classic Battlestar Galactica 1980 is a reimagining of the 1980 TV series that was set post them finding Earth. And then there's Battlestar Galactica Steampunk 1880, which just sounds all too fracking confusing for me to try. Till next time, so say us all.
So today we have with us from Gluepot Books, Scarlett and Sophie Rickard. Have I said the surname right, first of all?
Yes.
Because I say it not wrong all the time normally.
No, you got it right.
Excellent. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
So you're the second lot of siblings we've had.
Yes.
Obviously, the Everington brothers being the first.
Yeah.
Now, they had a peaceful relationship growing up. What was yours like?
Growing up?
Growing up, yeah.
Peaceful. We did have some arguments about stuff, but we also played together really well, didn't we? Yeah. We had our moments. We fell in and out of each other's favour over the years. I think that we always had creative fun together, though, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Yeah.
You see, I watch fighting. I want to hear bitter rows.
We had our fair share of bitter rows. I think they were squabbles. They were squabbles. We could have an argument about that. Yeah, we could.
I have caused a breakup of Gluepot Books right this second. So you say you were sort of creative when you were quite young together then. What sort of things were you doing? What were you into?
Oh. Well, Scarlett tells me tell me what to draw. And I've always had. Yeah. And so, I mean, we used to play all kinds of ridiculous imaginary games, and we had a big phase of cutting out from magazines and making stories that way, didn't we? We did, yeah. But really, it's Scarlett with a pen in her hand saying, tell me what to draw. And she used to tell me not to sit so close because you didn't like me breathing on you. Yeah, I have no imagination for stories. I wish I did, but it doesn't come to me like that. And Sophie's so good at coming up with brilliant stories. So, yeah, It's nice to be told what to do. And it makes me feel very lucky that I can come up with the most unlikely thing and say, Scarlett, would you just... like recently you've been doing extra drawings for social media and things, and it doesn't matter how ridiculous I make the request, she seems to always provide, which is wonderful. I love a good challenge.
I think, try and work out who's got the harder job. I think artists have got the harder job of the pair.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Certainly time-wise.
Yeah.
Time-wise, I think that's absolutely true. It's quite quick for me to dream up a room filled with William Morris wallpaper, for example. And it takes considerably longer to actually make that real. Yeah. And I don't do myself any favours either, because I love a bit of detail. Yeah. And so I always end up drawing far more into the pictures than is necessary. So a lot of the things in Mann's Best Friend are the bits that really make people laugh, are things that I never mentioned that Scarlett's put in there off her own accord, background things, I mean, but a detailed picture is more fun. Well, I think it makes the world more believable. I like the idea of people feeling like they know the place, and worlds are like that. You have all kinds of different people and different stuff going on in the background, and it's fun to draw that kind of thing. Sort of immerse yourself in it.
So just sticking to the younger side, what comics were you into growing up? Was there anything in particular you enjoyed?
Comics-wise, we weren't really massively into comics, were we? You used to get the Beano, yeah, obviously.
That's everybody.
Yeah,
every British person.
We weren't. I mean, our parents had Posy Simmons cartoons cut out in the downstairs loo. Yeah, and Giles books. Do you remember? We always had Giles in the downstairs loo. And also, we were really. I mean, as we got a bit older, sort of teenage years, we got more into. Things like Raymond Briggs's The Snowman.
Oh, yes.
And Posy Simmons as well. I mean, they were things that we enjoyed because they were very observant, and that was the thing that we both really respond to, I think. It's kind of everyday stuff, really well observed.
So, how did Gluepot Books come about then?
Well, Mann's Best Friend came about first.
Okay.
So Scarlett said, tell me what to draw. So I made a story about a man who hates his dog. And we wrote it on the beer mat. Well, you wrote it down. I talked it. It just came out of her head, and I wrote it down on the beer mat.
Best things are on beer mats.
Everything is on a beer mat.
It escalated until we found ourselves with an actual whole book. And then we sort of thought about sending it to some publishers, and then we discovered that
using the print-on-demand service that we could maybe just do it ourselves.
We never even bothered sending it to anybody. We just decided to do it ourselves because it was more fun.
Okay.
So Gluepot Books existed to produce Man's Best Friend, but by the time we got that far, we knew we had at least 4 more in the pipeline.
Okay.
So it was worth doing.
Yeah. I mean, because when you buy an ISBN, you have to get 10 anyway.
You don't have to.
Well,
it's just better value.
It's better value. You have to buy at least 9 more books.
Yeah.
And we'll have achieved our goal.
Gluepot Books recently made a plan for the next how many years?
Well, until 2022.
Yeah,
we have our lives
We've got
out.
a publishing schedule until 2022.
Wow.
Basically, Scarlett's got no life at all.
I'm going to say, I assume you work as well, or is this your focus?
We're both self-employed, so
Right.
it makes it easier. We can fit it around things a bit.
Yeah.
Both work from home, so it's not too bad. But work commitments can make it a bit more complicated to try and fit stuff in. I've got a strict 5-page a week quota at the moment that I have to achieve.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
So what's the creative process then? You seem, from just talking from your early years, that you already work well together. Have you any hassle or problems faced while creating such a book? Or is it fairly easy?
When we say that I make up the story and she draws the pictures, it makes it sound a lot more simple and straightforward than it is, because actually we talk through as we're going along a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't write the story by myself without you knowing anything about it. It's not like a big reveal when you find out what to draw.
And I don't draw the pictures without Sophie having inputs on that either. So we go it page by page as well sometimes. And interesting, I mean, a bit of the dialogue in Man's Best Friend, I wrote. I'm Scarlett, incidentally.
Yeah.
I wrote because Sophie had written on the original text. It just said, and then Terry says XXX.
Took it out. Sorry.
So I just kind of came up with something.
And then in the editing, when we're going back, we change stuff, and so it's all really done together. But we'd be in a sorry state if it was down to me to draw the pictures.
And we'd be if it was down to me to write the story. So yeah, we work very well together, and we have such a good laugh doing it. That's the main thing with Man's Best Friend is that the book was a byproduct of having a good laugh with your sister.
Oh, we've spent so much time laughing. I mean, the fact that it still makes us laugh when we open it is ridiculous.
But also, we still talk about the incidental characters in the background of Man's Best Friend. We know who they are and what their lives are and stuff, and we still laugh about them.
I'm sensing a sequel there.
Yes, yeah.
With the story, I think my review was it was a good Sunday afternoon reading. I think that was something I said. Did you feel any pressure when creating a story to create a certain way? Because this book, let's talk another way. A lot of books come out and they're quite, dare I say, up their own arse. And they are.
Yes.
And they're very heavy, and they seem to face a different way. Whereas your story, you just come out and it just feels like a genuine, nice story.
Yeah.
Was that just the way you set about? Did you plan anything, or?
I'm a big planner, but I think that we're not really steeped in the comic art world, and we don't take ourselves very seriously.
Yeah.
And I come at it from a literary point of view. That I like a good story. Like when I say I'm a planner, I have graphs of when it has to be exciting and when it has to be calm, and so I plot like in an old-fashioned Agatha Christie unfashionable way.
That's fine. That's fine.
This book is a cozy sort of gentle. I mean, if you're an animal lover, it's got some fairly serious cliffs in it, but
yes.
It's not gritty, is it? In a sort of, it's not Brighton Rock or anything, is it?
No.
But the next one is completely different, and the one after that is completely different again. So because we've already got our heads so far into the next two, because the one after Man's Best Friend Scarlett's drawing, and the one after that I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts with a story, then comes the pictures, and then at the end we're together again doing the edits. So you can look forward to seeing lots of different styles. Yeah. But they will all have plots.
One of the things that from our creative process, when Sophie provides me with the story, in fact with Mann's Best Friend we did it in acts, didn't we? You gave me act 1 and I worked on act 1 and then you gave me act 2.
Yes, I mean you knew what was going to happen.
I knew what was basically going to happen, but so it's left to me to do the pacing and the layout and everything, so I kind of lay it out and work it out in my head.
Like how what's going in each box.
Yeah, and what is going to be opposite what on what page and all that kind of thing. And how the pacing works and how to leave people with a cliffhanger and how to make them calm down again and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
which I really enjoy.
I'll say things in the instructions like, Terry's really upset now. And just leave it to Scarlett to sort that out, you know. But that's what you're good at.
Sense
so
of doom.
So
it's quite sort of filmic. I send like a script with stage directions and words, and Scarlett is the director and all the actors and the continuity person
and the props department.
Yeah.
So she's paid a higher wage then.
We'll let you know when anyone gets start paid away.
Yeah, fair comment. What challenges have you faced then, considering you've printed your own book? And let's say a lot of new starters, they print a small book. This isn't a small book. This is a full size graphic novel. So what challenges have you faced in regards to the creation and then the promotion, I suppose?
The creation of the actual book itself wasn't too challenging because I work as a graphic artist anyway, and I've but actually bringing the book out and getting to grips with the distribution world and things like just making sure it's available for bookshops to order in time, and stuff
from their wholesalers,
things like that. We tripped up a bit on a couple of things because we didn't realise it was going to take so long for things to happen.
It feels like everything in publishing takes about 100 years longer than we expect.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think in a way we're probably quite lucky that we've come from a position of just having a go and having a laugh doing it and not taking it too seriously. And we're learning on our feet really. And Mann's Best Friend was quite a good book to start with because we've been really amazed and surprised by how well it's been received because it doesn't have a genre, it doesn't have a particular audience. If you look at it from publishing terms, it's it doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
Which shelf you put it on.
Yeah. And so we kind of we weren't expecting it to do very well, particularly.
I was.
No, you were. The part of the creating process is massive self-doubt all the way through.
Yes. So we're currently struggling with Scarlett doing 5 pages a week and saying, "Oh, I'm going to have to go back and redo all these. They're rubbish." And me, I was saying, "Oh, just keep going till the end." And then when she gets to the end and looks at it, she'll say, "Do you know, this is quite good."
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd have to trust me.
I do trust you implicitly. It'll be fine. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, marketing has been. It is a challenge when you're really small and you're trying to get the word out about stuff. And, we're learning about who the reviewers are and who does what, and so we're beginning to get to grips with it all and feel our way through it.
It's been really friendly and welcoming.
Oh,
the comic art world has been so fabulous.
Really great.
What we haven't really got to the bottom of yet is how to get the distribution into like straight bookshops. I feel like Mann's Best Friend is quite a book that people who've not read graphic novels before might enjoy.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure how to get it under their noses.
It feels sad that you need to have a lot of money behind you in certain a lot of these shops, isn't it? Yeah, and it's quite sad, really.
We've got, so we'll have to find another way.
Well, it's quite lucky there's shops like Page 45, they took it on board, didn't you? And other shops.
It's really fantastic. Yeah.
And not just by, shouting about it on the internet and selling lots of copies, but actually talking to us about what we could do differently and stuff.
Yeah,
they've been really, really supportive.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
So how did you find giving it up for reviews? Because I know obviously we got one sent through quite early on. How was that initial?
By the time that we did that, I was fine with it. Because
me too. I was quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, we were so actually excited to have other people read it and meet all these people we've become so fond of. And I have to say that one of the best days of my life was the day that the books came, and my husband read it from cover to cover, and he just laughed so much. And I don't know, it was the first time I'd ever seen anyone else read it, and it was the most incredible pleasure to see your own fictional universe making someone else laugh.
Yeah, because you you enjoy it, but does that mean that anyone else will?
Yeah, you've got your own humour, and
yeah. So it was great, and we've got a really good team as well. While we're producing, we have our what's it called? Editorial committee.
Committee, like that.
Yes.
A draft committee, yeah. So various friends and family all got co-opted, and we printed I think it was 6 books, wasn't there? Because it's print on demand, we could just make some of the first version.
And they had detailed instructions with coloured post-it notes to stick on where it made them laugh out loud, or where they thought they'd seen any mistakes or anything, or where they were confused about what was happening. Because this is what you have to do if you don't have an editor.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Find lots of people and to then take all of their feedback in account in one go. So if several people said something was confusing, then we changed it.
Yeah.
There were things that we never would have noticed, like the vet shaking hands with his left hand.
Yeah.
And someone was, why is he doing that? Is he a mason?
Yeah, it was really, really helpful. And also, we had Vikram going off to. He was on the plane to Monaco, and our brother said Monaco hasn't got an airport. God, we showed them. So they're an intrinsic part of it all. And
part of the Gluepot team.
They are part of the Gluepot team.
So, are you planning any festivals or conventions this year to promote the work, or what's your plans?
We are planning to attend several. We're hoping to have the next book out this summer, but I'm not sure on the date yet.
No, sometime probably August-ish, we think.
Yeah. That's what it says in the plan anyway. Yeah. We are planning to go to Margate at Easter.
Yeah.
Cardiff in June.
Yeah, cool, you're good at remembering. We're doing Leica
and Thought
Bubble.
Excellent. That's what we wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, I think. Yes, it was 4. That's right. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do.
Well, I think Thought Bubble and the Lakes.
Yeah.
They're your priority, aren't they? In some ways.
Yeah.
Fabulous time at Leica this year.
Yeah, we did. It was really good. It was really nice to meet people.
We learned so much.
We did.
And we bought so many books.
Yeah, that's the only problem. You go back broke.
Yeah. We spent what little money we've made off everyone else's books. But it's brilliant.
That's really how the system works.
That is
Yeah, the money just keeps going round and round.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was really, especially, speaking to creators as well was really good. The Etherington brothers were really fantastic.
I was about to say, you seem to have quite a connection with them. You seem to be working off each other.
They were very welcoming to us. They said, we've been doing this for years, so if you want to know something, ask us. And it was so nice to meet another sibling team that sort of have the same role division as we do.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and it felt very familiar. Yeah, we got on well with them.
Yeah.
And Hannah Berry was great, wasn't she?
Yes.
She was really,
encouraging.
Yeah, we've met some really lovely people who've given us some fantastic advice, because we really are coming at it from nothing, and it's lovely to be welcomed as that. Nobody's sort of judged us from that point of view.
No.
It's been really welcoming, which has been great. Yeah.
I think 90% of the people are from the same background, though, aren't they? That's the thing. So they've all seen these challenges and faced them.
Yeah, so. No, it's great. Yeah.
So what's the next book going to be about? Can you give us any sneak previews?
Oh, yes. It's called A Blow Born Quietly, and it is the true story of a family in 1860.
No, 1880s.
In the 1880s. And it's essentially the story of a brother and two sisters, and it is told in the letters between them. So they write to each other as the story unfolds, and the book is made of their own words. So it's letters. It's a book of letters. So exciting things happen, and whoever's writing the letter chooses how to tell what's happening, and the pictures show you what's really happening.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, that sounds intriguing.
So it's full of historical detail and background things to be there. And it's quite, I'd say it's poignant.
Yes, it is a poignant story.
When we first came across the story, it made us cry.
Yeah, individually.
Separately,
yeah.
So it's a very moving
It's a
story.
moving tale.
Especially when you realise it's true. When you keep remembering that it's real.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a whole new challenge, because the nice thing about Old Droid was that we could just make it up. And this time, there's been quite a lot of research and trying to get into the headset of, the 1880s. And one of the most difficult thing is no bloody electricity. I've got to think about how everything's lit up all the time, and it's sort of thing you ever think that is going to be a thing.
She said, "I never remember worrying about lighting this much in Terry's house."
just make it daylight. It's always daylight.
Where the shadows are.
That's it.
Daylight, everything's dark indoors, so you've got that kind of it's a bit of a challenge, but it's been really good fun to draw. Apart from the William Morris wallpaper, obviously.
And it's been fun for me that the story is essentially about a sibling relationship.
Yeah,
as is, if you think about it, man's best friend.
I suppose it is.
Yes, yeah.
It's biographical without us realising it.
Well, we've just had a realisation.
That's the one after that. Siblings, it's all fine.
Get it in there somehow.
Right. And we're going to make an announcement on this interview for the episode, and we're going to ask your advice. We're about to start creating our own comic.
Yeah.
For a podcast as a series, which we'll talk about later in the episode. What advice can you give us, bearing in mind we've got no skills in creating comics? Nikki is a good drawer, but that's about all we've got.
That's pretty much
what you need.
Yeah.
That's fine, I'm ticked.
I mean, people keep asking me, you often meet people saying, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a book, and I've never got round to it." And I know it's a slightly different thing, but I always say, just do it, because it's all very well thinking about it, but we were told once that the difference between people who've written a book and people who haven't is that they did it.
They wrote a book.
They just got on.
That's the only difference.
And so along with that, and the sort of realization that while you're working on something, you sort of go, "Oh, I don't know if this is good enough." But when you get to the end, it is. Just keep going forwards, and then go back and look at it. Don't stop halfway through and try and improve it then, because you'll never get to the end.
Also,
those are the things that I've learned.
My tip is that if you can make each other laugh doing it, then you're on the right track. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I'm happily taking the writing side of things, so.
Well, yes, you're the
very
writer.
Happily.
What sort of format is it going to be? Like short stories?
It's going to be short. It's going to be, I suppose, like a diary.
Yeah,
short in some way. Yeah.
It's really good fun.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it sounds great. How often is it coming out?
Oh, this will just be a one-off.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
We want to see what you guys face is the idea. We want to see what challenges you guys face, and how hard /easy. I know the hard is the thing we tick there to create a piece of work. So we may unsuccessful. We may be successful. We'll give it a go.
Yeah, well,
who knows?
The go is the main thing, and you just got to, like Sophie said, make it for each other. And if you both really enjoy it and think it's funny and get into it, then it's quite likely that other people will too.
Also, include lots of quirky northerners with dogs.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a quirky northerner with a cat. So there you go. You can have a cat.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, one of you're role reversal to us. One of you is living down south, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I've dragged Southern Nikki up north.
Southern Nikki.
Well, if only I could drag my husband back up north. But no, he's a southerner born and bred, so it'll be hard work to get him out.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, no, I love it up here.
Well, that's
I wouldn't go back to that.
Yeah. Let's be honest. So where can they find more information about Mann's Best Friend and your future books?
Gluepotbooks.com.
Yep. And on Twitter, Gluepot Books.
And Instagram.
And Facebook is all Gluepot Books.
Simple.
Yeah.
Mm.
I wish ours were all the same.
No.
Don't be silly. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Cheers now.
Best of luck with your comic.
Yeah.
We need it.
Oh, yes.
We need it.
The Lakes International Comic Art Festival will be back!
Book the date in your diary, the 12th to the 14th of October 2018, and stay up to date with all the latest at comicartfestival.com.
Howdy, welcome to Breakdowns, the comic art section of the podcast. I'm Pete Taylor. I'm a small press comics creator and illustrator. Online, I trade as This Man, This Pete. And my favourite 4 things I've drawn since last episode are Fleagle, Bingo, Drooper and Snorky, the Banana Splits.
Nice. Hello, I'm Mark Hughes, full-time illustrator, part-time layabout. And the 3 favourite things I have drawn recently are a panel for the Island working title comic that I'm working on at the moment. And I just finished the East of West fan art piece. And I coloured and inked Black Science fan art piece that Image actually printed in this month's episode. Black Science. Nice.
Full page, wasn't it?
Yeah, full page. So chuffed.
So you can gather I'm here with another Swansea comic Illuminati, Mark Hughes, co-founder of the Swansea Comics Collective, co-artist on Copperopolis, and all around comic hero of Swansea. So, let's start with why comics?
Just loved drawing since I was a kid. So, into all the European style stuff when I was a kid. Asterix, Tintin, Lucky Luke, all that.
Yeah.
Spent hours tracing that stuff when I was little.
Also just absorbing it, wasn't it? You could stare at Asterix and there was so many jokes in the background. There was so much character to the guys and the people in the strip that I remember.
100%. And the environments, just the whole thing is just stunning.
Yeah, the village.
Yeah.
And then you kind of come to the stories after that, but that first visual pull of comics, it's always been there, hasn't it?
100%.
Because there's something for every age. I mean, I must have started on Disney, and then you move through Asterix, and then you get onto older stuff, but...
Yeah. That's what it was like for me, just animation, really.
Yeah.
Watching cartoons as a kid. When you used to have a video... Press pause, but you'd only have like 6 minutes because pause on the old VHS never lasted that long, did it?
Do you know the first pause button that our VHS had? It was physically connected.
Yeah, we had a remote control with a wire on it, right?
and it was a little slider button.
Yeah.
So when you had to pause it, you literally had to kind of go up and up. Yeah. It wasn't even a button. It was kind of a slider on off, on off. Have you
like
got
a
it
light
yet?
switch?
On off? That's ridiculous. Do you remember the first comic you bought?
Yeah, the first comic style thing I would have bought as a kid would have been Mad Magazine, I suppose, with my own money.
Yeah.
Used to go and stay at my nan's, and they had like a little corner shop post office at the top of the road. I'd walk up there and buy Mad Magazine, maybe Cracked if they had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spy vs. Spy.
Yeah, I'd read those back to back just to see the Mort Drucker drawing, the famous people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd read them things to death. I still got about 250 issues under the stairs in a suitcase. Yeah. Yeah. The rest then would have been, I don't know, picking up maybe Lantern, X-Men, picking them up off the spinners in Sketty.
Yeah, you knew where to go, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember there was a paper shop I used to ride my bike to, just across the bridge from my house. And they had, as well, I used to go there for 2000 AD every week.
Yeah.
But then underneath, there was just a random pile of comics, mainly DC. I think I bought...
You could never buy a run of anything.
Nah. It was Booster... I remember that. I think I managed to pick up the first issue of Booster Gold.
Right.
I had a clue what that was about.
Yeah.
But you just get a Legion of Superheroes, random Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah,
I think
right.
it was the Giffen stuff at the time, like that Great Darkness saga.
Yeah.
You just bought, random stories. And it didn't really matter that you didn't find out what happened next, or you would later on.
I didn't really care. I just wanted to look at the art, really. Yeah.
I remember talking to one of the mums in school, because her kid was into Ben 10, and I told her where the comic shop was.
Yeah.
And they went to the comic shop and they bought a comic, but he was disappointed that the story didn't finish.
Oh, right, yeah.
He said, but it just says to be continued. And the mum was like...
Go back next month, isn't it?
The mum was like... the general impression they were giving me was that they'd been cheated. They'd paid some money.
Yeah, right.
But they hadn't. I was like, yeah, but EastEnders stories don't finish, do they?
No, that's right.
And she was like, I don't watch EastEnders.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, all right, Coronation Street.
Yeah, of course not.
But, it's a serial story.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go back next month. You've got it easy. I couldn't when I was your age.
No, that's right. I just used to buy them to look at the pictures.
Yeah, didn't necessarily read it. So, you draw comics. You like drawing comics. You draw comics a lot.
Yeah. Well, try.
How do you do it? What's your process?
Old school process until last year. Switched to digital. Bought a Cintiq. Now it's all digital. Just
so you draw straight on screen.
I still pick up a pencil now and again. Yeah.
So how does that work though? If you're doing it digital, I mean, I know that you still work for you, so you'll do a rough drawing first, won't you?
Yeah.
But the difference
is
for the layman out there is instead of you drawing that on a separate piece of paper and then having to trace it,
just one layer,
you just
draw it all.
Yeah.
Draw it all in layers. Rough it out in pencils. Drop all that into a folder. Drop the opacity. Get to the ink in.
So you're building it all up on one infinite piece of paper.
Yeah, one file, I suppose. Yeah, and one piece of paper. Yeah, I don't have to go looking to sharpen a pencil or look for more paper. Just
hope the electricity.
Plus, the beauty of it is you can, that there's nothing worse than drawing a piece and then thinking, "Oh, this guy's head is too small." You just grab that. Make it big, Yeah. I love that side of the digital comics. Well, making digital comics, I suppose.
Yeah, because that would be the frustration when I'd drawn something. I could never not fiddle with it once I scanned it in.
No.
So I would always scan it in, and then I would fix it, and then I would cut a bit out, and then I would print it back out again, and then inevitably there would always be something.
Yeah.
That I wasn't happy with, but it was more effort to fix it if it's physical.
Yeah.
If you're drawing it straight in on the digital.
I still get it now. I did a piece the other day and I was like, oh God, this guy's hands are 5 times bigger than his head. Why are his hands so big? Just lasso them, shrink them, done.
And you lay out on your design, isn't it? The last time I laid something out completely digitally, I just the freedom of being able to go, oh, do you know what, that guy might look better over there.
Yeah,
move him.
Yeah.
As opposed to get a piece of trace, draw it again, or scan it in, move it, all that kind of stuff.
I find it works for everything. You know, you draw a guy and you think, oh, this guy's got a pug face. Stretch it. you know you're going to fix it in the inking anyway, so just... Yeah.
Because you can dupe stuff,
try
it out. It's like the amount of times when I've been doing a sketch card or a piece and I've worried about my colour choices, so I've photocopied it. Yeah. And I've ended up with like 4 different colour schemes just to work it out.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is just spending a shed load on Copics.
Yeah. I do that on the Cintiq with the Manga Studio. When I'm building up my pencils, I'll draw one character and then I'll think, oh, right, hang on, I want to put something else on here. So I'll change the pencil colour.
Right.
So I use blue and red pencils. Eventually then I'll change it all to one colour, you know?
Yes, you got different passes. You can see at what stage you've done different.
Plus you can do, you drop it all on different layers. So you're like, right, this guy could do with being like a couple of inches closer to this guy. Just drag that layer over. Yeah. It's great.
Sounds good. So, what do you like best about making comics?
Just you get to draw. You know, you get to put down what you're thinking or interpreting from other people's work. You know, like what Ricky and Adam are writing. I get to draw. What Paul is writing, I get to draw that.
Yeah, because you've got quite a few projects on really at the moment.
Yeah.
So SCC wise, you're working on Copperopolis number 3 with me. We've got half the book each.
Yeah.
And then you've got a title called The Island.
Yeah, so I think you're going to stick with that. It's a working title, but I think it's going to stay. Yeah. And so I finished issue 1 of that, completely penciled, inked, grey tone.
Lettered?
Yeah, lettered. It's all done. I think I got about 5.5. Well, we looked earlier, about 5.5 pages of... Oh, no, 5.5 pages of inks for Copperopolis to finish.
Yeah, for 3. I think you got a bit less on issue 2, haven't you?
Yeah, I haven't got much of issue 2 left, I don't think. But it's just the deal when you spend so much time on something, your style changes or you get a bit quicker, and then you think, oh right, hang on, got to release this now, otherwise it's going to look so different from the next issue, you know.
I was showing Daisy the other day of the difference in appearance of some of the characters at the beginning of Monster Kids, like Ray, the skeleton.
Yeah.
He's got a head like a tissue box at the beginning. It's,
it's
just a rectangle.
Like a square. Yeah.
A
rectangle, yeah.
And then by the end of it, he's got a lot more character. You can kind of see that he's got some sort of eyebrows and cheekbones, and he's just got a little more kind of looks, a little more quirky. And that just becomes, because it's more fun to draw that than a rectangle.
Yeah, of course.
It just develops, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Speed things along. And what's the worst bit about making comics?
Drawing the same thing over and over.
Making them look the same.
Just trying to get them to look the same. That's the hardest part.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
Some people can just do it. Others have just got to work at it, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, when you're working on things for a while, your style changes, your art develops, and then you think, oh, hang on, I can make this guy look a little bit more like he does on page 5. Yeah, you know. I suppose that's the worst part about it. Like, I couldn't draw a Bendis book, you know.
Yeah.
500 faces all the same talking. No.
Yeah, when you look at a copy of Jessica Jones.
Too hard.
And it is.
I respect it. It's amazing.
When you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice. I had a few pages like that in my section.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a challenge for a page or two. But in a whole book, that would be quite tough.
Well, it's like the first issue of The Island, you know, all takes place on an island, one guy. It's like nightmare, absolute nightmare. You know?
Yeah. Stretched a little more on the second issue.
Yeah. There's 2 guys in the second issue. That's not even a joke.
Was there an artist or is there an artist that blows you away and you've got a bit obsessed about?
Oh, it's so many.
It's funny. When I wrote that, I was almost charting one per decade.
Yeah, right.
Because I remember the first one I got slightly obsessed with was John Byrne.
Yeah, right.
So that would have been 80s, really, early 80s. X-Men onto Alpha Flight, onto Hulk. And, I mean, is DC stuff less so when he was on that Man of Steel and stuff? But
yeah,
I remember I had a list of everything he'd drawn, including covers, that I was trying to, complete.
Yeah, wow.
And I didn't do too bad, but, I mean, I've got issues like Iron Fist 14, first appearance of Sabretooth.
Nice.
Like that.
So many. Kirby, Mignola.
Yeah.
Frank Miller, Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil was amazing.
Just
Sin City.
Yeah.
I know.
So many. Recently, though, I think kind of shy away from the big two. I think Image are killing it with their artists.
And Dark Horse.
Yeah. Scalera. Man, that guy is mint.
James Harron.
The movement on Harron's work.
Kinetic.
See that Spider-Man piece he posted the other day?
No, I didn't see
I think it's going to be a cover. Remember I told you?
Oh, I did see it, yeah.
It's like a angled shot where he's travelling along and the cars in the background. Wow.
It looks like
my
he's
mind.
Doing a lot of Marvel stuff. That's going to be...
Yeah.
I tweeted the other day that this was going to make me buy Marvel for the first time in years.
Yeah, right.
If he's doing it.
Yeah.
Because, I completely disagreed with Axel Alonso saying people don't buy stuff for the art.
No, that's why they buy the stuff, right?
Well, it's part of it, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it's why any artist buys that stuff, right?
Well, I will buy stuff purely because an artist I like has drawn it. I mean, I don't buy...
I do that all the time.
I don't buy Thor, but I bought the issue of Thor that he drew.
Yeah.
Specifically to buy that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Eduardo Risso.
Yeah. Somni. See Somni's Inktober's?
Yeah, the
Batman
stuff. Yeah.
That Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's funny because every now and again you just fall down the rabbit hole. I remember when I saw James Harron on Abe Sapien. The Dark
you
Horse
lent
stuff.
that to me, blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was special.
That's like
it
looked like it was moving.
It was stand out. Wasn't it? It was like, I picked that up and it was like, oh, this guy is somebody to watch.
Yeah.
It was just, I'd not seen anybody do movement or, have such of that kind of power.
Oh, that's I got a fan art piece in Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, go on. So you've done, because you kind of got a wish list, haven't you? So you got fan art in Rumble,
Paper Girls,
Black
Science this month,
full page,
and I want to get.
Oh, you got one in. Oh no, you sent one off to Chrononauts, didn't you? But was that printed in the end?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't printed. I did get as far as having to sign.
That's right, a release.
Sign a release. But, it never happened.
It's going to get in the movie credits.
Yeah. That was a weird one.
They own it now.
Yeah, yeah. I did a few Chrononauts ones. Again, Sean Murphy, buy anything that guy draws.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other two on my list are Saga and East of West.
Oh man, I love East of West. I was talking about East of West with Ricky.
Yeah.
And you saying, I really want to like it, but I don't know what's going on.
East of West?
Yeah. And I was like, Ricky, I love it, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, right.
It's like, Nick Dragotta's art is just astounding. I mean, and I'll go back and reread it, and I do have a general sense of what's going on. I mean, it's Hickman, so never completely 100%. But, I mean, his art is amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful title. Love it.
Isn't it?
Absolutely love it.
Okay, so what's next?
Finish the projects I'm working on, I suppose. Yeah.
Draw more.
Yeah, draw. Actually finish the comics that I've got on the burner. Yeah. Well, Copper Obelisk next. That's got to be finished because of our Kickstarter. So, luckily I'm not that far away. You got all the work to do, I think.
Well, I mean...
You've got to magic it and make it look good at the end.
Well, the pencils are done.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the most work. I have got to ink them, but it is extra pressure knowing that the pages are going to be sent to the Kickstarter.
But you've got to design it all when it's finished as well. Yeah. Letters, everything.
That's just day job stuff. You can do that. Yeah. I mean, well, I've already lettered my pages. I've only got to let yours.
Oh, right, that's okay.
I letter my pencils just to make sure in that anal way that it's not going to... I don't have to change anything at the end, basically. Or I don't have to have a bit of a word balloon over someone's face. Like, I had a few nightmares on the first couple of Copperopolis issues where, people didn't really take the lettering into account. Letter-to-ring.
Yeah.
So, where can people find you online?
The Instagram, The Art of Sock. Son of Ken on Twitter. And I think the Son of Ken Facebook art page. Yeah, something like that. All Son of Ken. Or get in touch with the SEC, and all my details are on there. Even my bank details, if you look closely.
Cool. Well, I'm sure we will revisit again next year and find out if we did manage to finish the stuff we were talking about tonight.
No, that money's in the bank. It's got to be done. Yeah.
Oh, it's in Ricky's bank.
Yeah, it's in Ricky's bank. Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. Please contact me if you have any comments or questions, or if you have ideas for other comic artists to profile. You can find me at thismanthispete on Instagram and Twitter. Email me at thismanthispete@gmail.com, or at my website, surprise, surprise, thismanthispete.com. Cheers, Mark.
Thanks, mate.
So, that was a good interview. And our little announcement that we made. So, we...
Yeah.
I
was going to say, I just remember being at work and suddenly getting this text when I came on my break. And it was like, what have you done? Why? What are you on now?
I also then, even consulting you, then emailed Julie.
Yes.
To say we're going to do something with the podcast. And
Yeah, well done.
When I have an idea...
Yes, you just run with it, don't you?
I just run with it.
Yeah.
So, my idea was, we review books, we talk to creators, and we have an idea of what they do, but we don't actually know what they do and what's required to create a comic.
Yes.
On all stages.
I still think you've got the easy job.
So I thought, why not try and create one?
Of course, that's exactly where your brain would go to.
Yes. Obviously... I have got so many writing skills, none. But you have got the artistic side and the artistic skills. So we're halfway there.
Yes. Yeah. You see, I think there's a difference between being able to draw a picture and being able to do a comic. I think there's a different skill set involved in both.
Yeah.
But we'll give it a bash. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
So we're going to create a comic. I suppose the deadline is a festival this year. We might not be successful in this, but... So the idea we're going to do is going to be like a diary style comic.
That's all about you, from what I hear.
No, it's not. We've changed the plans. It was going to be.
Oh, it's all going to be about you.
It's all going to be about me because I am the writer. So you just do as you're told, woman.
I don't think that's how it works either.
We will split the profits 50-50. You get 0. I get 0.
Well, yes, that's true.
We thought I was going to talk about life as a father. That was my initial thought. Well, no, because why not? Yes. The idea was then to expand it if it was successful and talk about all other aspects.
Do I get to come into it if it was successful?
Yeah. If I'm successful, dear, I'll allow you
your 5 minutes.
But no, then we thought, well, no, why not make it about what we're talking about? So we're going to do it about podcasting.
Yes.
So diary extracts of issues we've had with podcasting, good times, bad times, the hard times, the fun times, the setting up of this for the festival, that sort of thing. And that's what I'm tasking myself to sort of write somehow. I mean, to be fair, there won't be that much to write. There'll be a lot of drawing, but there won't be that much to write.
I'm noticing something here.
Yes.
Right.
And we just want to, see if we can create something I'm not expecting a masterpiece. Or
I wouldn't.
Long.
I would take that as a slight now. My art capacities.
Well, by masterpiece, I'd take a big old thick book. I'm not
we're not doing that. No, it's more like a Garfield pamphlet. Strip, isn't it? 4-panel.
So, next episode, we've got Pete Taylor coming back on.
Yes.
It's been essentially a year since he was first on when we first launched the podcast, roughly.
It's definitely time to hear more of Pete then.
So, we're going to talk to Pete about the process from the start to the finish of creating.
So, he's just going to put us off, is he? That's
possibly so.
Uh-huh.
And then we've also got the Awesome Comic Podcast guys coming on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we'll talk about their work, but I also want to delve into what they do as well as a small press to create the books. And I think we'll, hopefully, as we go down the line of us slowly producing something, we can talk to other creators about certain parts of the process that we're up to during the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
So if anyone's got ideas for names... Then do send.
You mean we haven't even got a name? No, we haven't, have we?
Well, that'll develop. As
okay.
We know the basics of the idea and the story.
Do you?
We do. I do. and I suppose the first question from Pete will be, how do you get that idea
onto paper? You sketch it down.
To then look at you acting like you know what you're doing.
I was published aged 5. I hope you know. I'm a published author. I did a competition at school in nursery, and my duck cartoon got published, okay? I drew a duck.
Evidence?
I don't know if that was like 35. 35 years ago. It's possibly in a museum somewhere now.
They didn't even have paper then.
No, we had to carve it.
Carve on bone.
Black and white, because everything was black and white back then.
Very true. So, yeah, wish us luck. Any support, please do give it. Yeah. You know.
We'll need it.
We're going to need it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we want a name.
Yeah.
Nothing
rude.
Podcasting for Dummies.
That could be it, actually. That could be it, but I expect you got with copyright on that one.
Podcasting for... No, I don't.
The masses.
Anyway, we'll think of something brilliant.
Brilliant. No.
In fact, it might be the best bit of the whole book.
The name.
Right, thank you very much. So I say we've got Pete Taylor coming on for a chat next episode. And then we'll also, hopefully, by next episode, have an idea exactly what events we'll be going to throughout the year.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Maybe not. But we're definitely going to be at Pout in Macclesfield in May, I think it is.
I think so.
So if you go into that, then say hello.
Yup.
But other than that, we're not sure yet.
No.
Right. Enjoy your next 2 weeks, everybody.
Yes.
Approximately.
Maybe it'll be sunny.
Don't be silly. It's a bit chilly. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you leave a review.
Yes. A nice one.
A nice one. Or if not, then do one.
Then don't do one.
And we'll see you on the 1st of Feb.
Thank you for listening. Find out more about the festival at comicartfestival.com. Find out more about the show and how to contact us at comicartpodcast.uk. Find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Music composed by Pop Noir.
This podcast is part of Britpod Scene, an independent network of uniquely British podcasts that's always growing. Check out BritpodScene.com or Britpod Scene on Twitter to find out more.